In the highest court in Norway, a global religion is fighting for its life. They aren't fighting with Bibles and legal briefs. They are fighting with something that the internal manual calls theocratic warfare. If you have not already subscribed, kindly do me a favor, subscribe and smash the notice bell. Imagine standing before a panel of Supreme Court justices and telling them that the word your organization uses every week, a practice that has destroyed thousands of families, is actually an invention of apostates. This is the state versus the Jehovah's Witnesses in Oslo, Norway. Most of the mainstream media is reporting this as a dry battle over grants and religious freedom. Social media is obsessed with the drama, but they are both missing the real story. They are missing the fact that the legal defense presented in Norway is a total ground-up contradiction of the religion's own God-given laws. In the next 20 minutes or so, we are going to go in the courtroom to see the moment that will not make the 6 o'clock news. We are going to look at the theological perjury that just happened in Norway, and why, if they win with a lie, it changes the rules of every religion on the planet. The mainstream media blind spot. Now, when you turn to mainstream media, their headlines are predictable. Norway tests the limits of religious freedom. Jehovah's Witnesses are fighting for their practices. They talk about a $1.6 million in state grants. They talk about human rights versus tradition. But the mainstream media has a blind spot. They don't have the Shepherd the Flock manual, the Watchtower magazines and awakes. They haven't spent decades in kingdom halls hearing the word disfellowshipped. Because the media doesn't know the Jehovah's Witnesses theology, they don't see gaslighting. The media reports say the Jehovah's Witnesses are defending their practices. But what they don't know is that in court, the Jehovah's Witnesses are actually denying those same practices. The mainstream media sees a legal dispute. We are seeing a truth advertising crisis. If a religion can tell the government that they don't do X in order to get taxpayers' money, but tell their members to do the same X, this isn't about religion. It's a scam. And that's exactly what happened on day 2 and 3 in Oslo. Before we continue, let me ask for one favor. It takes a lot of time and effort to produce these videos that you're watching. Kindly subscribe and smash the notice bell so that we can continue bringing you more deep dives like this one. They avoid JW relations. I want to thank avoidjw.org for providing details of the proceedings in the Supreme Court in Norway. We now have details of what the lead lawyer, Anders Ryssdal, told the court justices. And it is staggering. It is massive and contradictory. On day 2, Ryssdal took the stand to defend the organization. His goal? To neutralize the word shunning. He told the Supreme Court that shunning is an invention of apostates. Now just think of that. He told them the word isn't used by the organization. Wait, what? The very word he called apostates invention is the title of the 2024 convention videos. It is in their magazines. It is in their books. Ryssdal looked straight in the eyes of the Supreme Court justices and effectively disassociated the organization from its own vocabulary. Shocking. I don't know what was going on in his mind, but it gets even deeper. Ryssdal made 3 primary claims that Avoid JW highlights as massive inconsistencies. Claim number 1 is exit. The first pillar of Ryssdal's defense is the easy exit claim. He told the court leaving the religion is simple, non-burdensome, and does not involve social trauma. He literally described it as just a letter. According to the defense, there is no pressure to stay in the Jehovah's Witnesses. They wanted the Supreme Court judges to believe that a 19-year-old who was baptized at 13 would just walk away with no consequences. Anyone who knows a little bit about the Jehovah's Witnesses would laugh at that.
I came to talk to Jody, who has a similar story. He was disfellowshipped the day he finished high school after the organization discovered he had got a young woman pregnant.
In front of the whole congregation that people should avoid contact with me, and they gave the reason why, and everybody, like I said, turned around and looked. And at that moment, I knew these people my whole life. And within that second, they were never going to speak to me again. And they never did. None of them. You know, the boys in the congregation that were close to my age that I had grown up with, I mean, that was the last time that I talked to them. That was it. You know, next day at school, or it was nothing. Like, it was like I didn't even exist anymore.
But let's look at the contradiction. The Shepherd the Flock Manual, the Secret Elders book, instruct that as soon as the letter is written and announcement is made, from that second, every friend, every business partner, every family member must treat the disfellowshed person as though they are dead. This is social death. By calling it just a letter, the JW lawyer is hiding the social execution that follows the letter. He presented the administrative act of living while concealing the social penalty that makes living almost impossible for most people.
The most painful thing I think you can do to another human being is to isolate them and cut them off. That's why solitary confinement, is such an issue in the prisons and stuff, and why it's such an effective tool also in those environments, because that people will do almost anything to just not be alone. And when you're raised as Jehovah's Witness your whole life, when all of your family around you, all your friends are in that environment, when they cut you off and disfellowship you, you are put into solitary confinement.
Claim number 2, the intact family contradiction. The next claim is perhaps the most painful for those who have lived through it. Ryssdal argued in the Supreme Court that the families are not affected. They remain intact following the disassociation. He suggested that normal family relations continue.
And things changed at home too, obviously. I mean, my parents, minimal communication. No more good morning, no more nothing. I mean, it was, I can remember my stuff being outside, and my mom, I still can see her standing in the front window and just pointing at the road. A couple bags sitting outside, and that was it. I had no money. I had nothing.
But what does the Watchtower's own literature say? The 2016 Regional Convention featured a video showing a mother refusing to answer a phone call from her disfellowshipped daughter. Here is the clip. Another video showed a daughter refusing to answer the phone call from her disfellowshipped mother. Here is the clip.
Mom's disfellowshipping still feels so raw.
Elsa, please speak up. I miss you so much. I just want to hear your voice.
The Watchtower magazine stated that loyal Christian members do not look for excuses to associate with a disfellowshipped relative.
Well, this presents a challenge to each of us when it is a beloved friend or relative who is disfellowshipped. Will we be submissive and yield to the judgment of the elders who handle the matter? We should accept the fact that they are in a position to be more objective than we are. The elders pray hard about these decisions, knowing that they will render an account to God.
In court, the Jehovah's Witnesses defense team is pretending that the religious part of the relationship is the only one that gets affected. But the reality is that the organization mandates total freeze of affection.
And your mother has stopped talking to you because you were disfellowshipped, right?
Yeah.
Is that tough?
It's very odd knowing that your mother supposedly cares for you. At least I'd like to think that she does, or that she did at one point. But she doesn't talk to you anymore, or come to visit you, or, even send you cards in the mail.
And you are their only child, right?
Yeah, correct.
Wow.
By telling the court that family ties remain intact, the defense is banking on the judges not knowing living in the same house, and a person being treated as a human being. Claim number 3, personal choice defense. The final pillar is the personal choice defense. Ryssdal contended that social distancing is not organizationally enforced. Instead, he claimed that members exercise their own personal conscience. Now again, he is banking on the justices not knowing that personal conscience is anything you do against the Jehovah's Witnesses doctrine. And when you go against it, there are social sanctions that follow. This is a classic handoff. If the state says you force people to shun, the organization responds. We teach members what is in the Bible, and the people decide what to do. The contradiction is found in the judicial committees. If a JW chooses not to shun a disfellowshipped person, they themselves can be disfellowshipped for a brazen conduct or apostasy. There is no choice. It is a mandated policy with penalty for non-compliance. Here is a clip.
After you got disfellowshipped, you obviously went back. Was a big reason the fear of just losing all your community and your social bonds with friends and family?
Yeah, it became a harsh reality. And because, especially all my family, were Jehovah's Witnesses, it just felt like I have to get back in, right? Because I can't not have this ability to have relationships with all my family. My brother-in-law, who was a ministerial servant, was removed because they didn't immediately kick me out of their house when I was disfellowshipped. So there were consequences for the people that I think kept contact. And that's, a good way to keep those people in line with all the rules as well and enforce this is, well, if you're going to talk, you can be disfellowshipped for having a relationship, even a family relationship with somebody who's disfellowshipped.
Ryssdal presented a high-pressure system as a collection of individual voluntary decisions. It is the ultimate legal loophole to avoid responsibility of the negative social control that Norway is trying to put to an end. Every person who has been a Jehovah's Witness or knows Jehovah's Witnesses well knows that those 3 claims are demonstrably false. The Shepherd the Flock Manual tells elders to explicitly avoid associations with disfellowshipped members. It tells parents to limit associations with children who don't live at home to necessary family business. And by that they mean if maybe one of the members is very sick or maybe has died. That is the necessary family business. This wasn't a legal argument. It was a 16 million krona lie. Conclusion, the price of silence. Anders Ryssdal's defense on the 2 was a masterpiece of legal reframing. He actually tried to do the opposite of what the state did. The state moved away from theology to human rights. Anders moved away from human rights to theology. He wanted the court to believe that the state is overstepping into a private matter of religion. But as we have seen, his defense relies on 3 claims that flatly contradicts the lived experiences of thousands. Number 1, shunning is an invention. Number 2, living is easy. Number 3, family life remains normal. The Supreme Court in Norway is now tasked with deciding, is this protected religious practice or is it a descriptive system that violates the fundamental rights of its citizens? In episode 3, we'll see how the state attorney hit back, and they hit back hard. We'll also see how the Supreme Court justices grilled the Jehovah's Witness defense. If this video has opened your mind, kindly do me a favor, like, subscribe, and smash the notice bell. Because as you do that, you will help us to continue bringing you more deep dives like this one. To watch part 1 of the hearings, click on this link. To watch other videos we've done on the JW versus the state, click on this link.